Algebra 2 End of Course Assessment Review. Day 3. Let's look at the performance event. This part will be taken on the second day of your EOC. You want to be sure to show as much work as possible on the test. Don't forget to include units. So the example in our pretest is on compound interest, but the performance event on the EOC could cover any Algebra 2 concept. So here's a little information. It's a multi-step question that allows you to show your full understanding of the Algebra 2 topics. We never know exactly which topics will be covered, so you just have to be ready. You want to read and analyze the information carefully and respond thoroughly. Some helpful hints are to read carefully, to show all your work, to give a reasonable answer, to label all your parts, to make sure that you answer all the parts, because there are many parts, to use the given variables and give an explanation if you're asked to. Sometimes it's helpful to sketch a picture, and then, as always, label your final answer. So, like I said, this pretest item involves compound interest. So go to your pretest packet and turn in the back to the performance event. So let's just review these formulas. So the first is for compounded interest that is compounded periodically. You'll be given an amount like monthly or daily, and that is N. R is the rate or the interest percent, T is the time in years, and P is your principal, your beginning amount. If that interest is compounded continuously, then you'll use the base E formula. So read through the information. I'm not going to read this out loud to you. Pause the video, read through it, and then let's look at parts A and B. So part A says, after 7 years, how much money would each plan have? Enter the amounts. Round to the nearest cent, which is the second decimal place in the boxes. So plan X is compounded continuously, so you're going to use the base E formula. With that principal of $500, the ending amount after 7 years would be $760.98. Now for plan Y, you're going to use that formula that is given. So you're just going to plug your number in. In this case, it would be 0.06 for the rate and then 7 for your time. And then just carefully key that in on your calculator. I started with the most inner parentheses at the top and I worked outward. I got my numerator and then I divided it by my denominator, which I put that in a parentheses. So plan Y would give $527.37, round to cents. Part B says, how many years will it be before the amount of money in Plan Y exceeds the amount of money in Plan X? Select the number of years that correctly completes the sentence. Sometimes a strategy is to take the answers given and to plug them in. I'm going to do that. I'm going to start with 12 years because I feel like 10 years is pretty close to 7, and those amounts that we just saw were pretty far apart. So I'm going to plug in 12 to each of those situations, Plan X and Plan Y. So when I plug in 12 for Plan X into that formula, and also for Plan Y, letting T equal 12, I see that my amount for Plan X is $1,027.22, and now my amount for Plan Y is $1,050, so I have exceeded. But now I'm thinking maybe 10 years was the answer. So just to be sure, I'm going to go back and plug in 10 years to see if the amounts compare them at that point. Well, you can see for Plan X, it's $911.06, and for Plan Y, it's only up to $819. So it looks like at 12 years, that is when Plan Y would exceed Plan X of those choices. Question 2 has 2 parts. Let's look at part A. So Corinne has $500 to invest. She wants to see how much money she would have at the end of 4 years if she invested her money in 6% interest rate. So you have 4 situations below. You're just going to plug them in to the appropriate formula. The first one is compounded annually. So our N value is 1. So it's a very simple interest formula. which gives us $631.24. Plan B is compounded quarterly, so our end value will be 4. And you can see that she will earn a little more money. Compounded monthly, our end value in that periodic formula is now 12. And then finally, compounded continuously, this is our base E formula. So figured for 4 years, Corinne will have $635.62. Notice I did not write in the dollar sign because it was given at the beginning of that. If I didn't see that dollar sign at the beginning of my blank, I would definitely put that in to label my answer as dollars. Part B, we want to select the number of years that correctly completes the sentence. How many years will it take Corinne to double her investment? So I'm going to use that formula and just let it equal 1,000, which is double her initial investment of 500. Then I'm going to solve for t. So I have to isolate that expression, and then I'm going to switch it into a log form. Since it's base E, that will be a natural log. So I will get approximately 11.6 years, which would round to 12 years. My last question is different. Sally's buying a car and she has saved $900. She has to borrow the rest from her family. So let's see how much she has to finance. So I'm going to subtract the $900 from that cost of the car. That's how much she'll need to finance at 5% interest for 2 years. So how much money will she owe at the end? Well, I'm going to use my compounded interest formula periodically with n equaling 4. So she will owe $2,645.24. Now, when Sally pays back her loan, her family is going to let her keep the interest. So I'm going to take that amount and subtract it from her loan amount, which was $2,395. So that $250.24 is the amount that she will get to keep. Again, notice how I didn't put a dollar sign in because I saw the label at the beginning of the box. Now we're ready for day 3 logarithms, so you can stop this video and go on to the next one, the part 2 of day 3, which will cover logarithms.